Welcome everyone to Farming Simulator 25. Today we're going to be planting, growing, and harvesting green beans. We're going to go through every step and show you every phase, every month along the way, and what we can do with them, how to harvest them, and such like that. Starting off, let's have a look at the calendar here. We're going to be planting them in April, but you can see you can plant them in April, May, or June, and the harvest season here extends all the way into November. We're going to be planting them in April, harvesting them in August, and to harvest them, we will be using this machine right here. In order to harvest green beans, you're going to have the green bean harvester in the vegetables category, and as of now, there's no mods. The game is really new, so this is the only harvester available. So you're going to have this machine I'm standing in front of right here. All right, so let's get into it. So here in April, we're in the first month of planting for green beans. Now, there is some fertilization on our field, and our green bean, the planter that we'll be using, does fertilize, but let's go ahead and just do all the steps anyway, right? So I want to fertilize first, you know. Again, our field's fertilized, maybe yours isn't, maybe your planter doesn't fertilize as it plants, whatever. So we're going to throw down fertilizer, and this field is good. Now, yeah, it's April, so we can plant our green beans. Now, you can use, should be able to use any planter for it. Of course, make sure it has the icon. But yeah, any regular planter will plant the beans. We're going to be using this planter right here. And so, always want to make sure, I do it before I head to the field, because you don't want to accidentally forget, and set it to, there we go, green beans. So, our field is already taken care of. It's been limed, plowed, fertilized. We just fertilized it. The field is completely fresh, you know, in status in every way. We're just going to plant some green beans here. We're just going to run 2 rows of green beans up and down the field. And there we go. There is our planted ground. It's very pretty. All right, so we've got 2 rows of green beans there planted. Now, while we wait for this tool to fold up, that's it for this month. I'll catch up with you guys in May, and we'll check on our beans. Here we are in May, so this will be our beans in their first stage of growth. We've got the Kubota out here because we're going to fertilize. They got 1 layer of fertilization on them. So here's what the beans will look like in May. Let's go ahead and run this over here. All right, there's our beans with 1 level of fertilization. Oh, I'm sorry, both levels of fertilization. If we pull up here, you can see that that should be all of it. It says there's some missing here, but that's where they're planted. It's fertilized where they're planted. That's because there's parts of the field that aren't planted. Just make sure there, though. Yeah, it's all fertilized. So, yeah, there's the part there's the part that is planted, as you can see. So our beans are fertilized. Sorry, that's just what happens sometimes when you plant part of a field and then part of a field not. So, yes, our beans are fully fertilized. Let's go ahead into June. So here we are in June. You can see our green beans in their second stage of growth. Now that they are fully fertilized, there's nothing to do this month in June, so we could take care of other things around the farm. So we're going to go ahead, since we're just doing the beans, we're going to go into July. Now here's our beans in July. Now, they shouldn't be ready to harvest until next month, but we can see they look really good. This is what they look like in their third stage of growth. They look really good. All right, so, yeah, everything's fine here. So that gives us a couple months. If you're growing green beans, you've got a couple months where you don't need to do anything with them, assuming they're fully fertilized and such like that. So let's go ahead into August. All right, here we are in August, and our green beans are knee-high and ready to harvest. All right, so green beans ready to harvest. We've got us a green bean harvester over here. So let's put that to work. We're going to need a tractor for our tipper and the harvester. Let's get that stuff out on the field. All right, we got a tractor with a tipper out there. Got our harvester. Let's unfold this. And it is ready to rock and roll on our beans. Now, as with the spinach and peas, we're forced, of course, to use a $500,000 piece of equipment from Oxbow. It's a shame it's the only one available. I'm sure mods will bring us in the future more, but for now, this is the harvester that we're using. All right, we got it fired up, turned on, and let's see what green bean harvesting looks like. Looks a lot like pea harvesting, actually, a little bit. It also leaves a ground state that looks a lot like the pea harvest. I just recently did the pea harvesting video, and yeah, this is what that reminds me of. Well, let's get these harvested. We'll see how the yield goes. We'll get it dumped into the tipper and see if there's any other steps or anything like that. And of course, what we will do with our green beans once they're harvested. Well, I've got a pretty good feel for how the pea harvest goes. And it's really cool too if you check them out in the hopper back here. Let's turn this off. I was looking in the hopper and it almost looks like it's just throwing chaff back there in the hopper. But if you come up here and look really close, you can see all the little individual green beans in there. Yeah, from a distance it looks like it's just throwing like grass or chaff or something back there. But no, they're just little tiny green beans. All right, so yeah, I just thought that was interesting. Let's get these offloaded into our tipper. So they're going to unload just like the spinach does. Let's get this lined up here. There we go. Very cool. Now, the spinach and the peas, we can't load those in our silo. Let's check and see. Let's make sure what we can do with the green beans. I want to make sure that we know what we can do with the green beans. Let's fold this back up. I like how these harvesters work. It's really cool. Now, peas, of course, we can use in various productions, or we can just sell them to the various productions or sell points around the map. But I want to see if we can store these in our silo. I'm betting probably not, but I would think more likely than we could others. But we're just going to say probably not, because we can't the other vegetables. So that's a no-go. We can't store in our silo. Same thing as we can't store the other vegetables either. So we're going to have a look here at the prices. Now, it's so handy that it's all alphabetized. It makes them easy to find. Here we go. And there's really not much fluctuation throughout the year, as with the other vegetables, because you kind of have to use them when you harvest them since you can't store them. So luckily, there's not much variation. We can take it to the canning factory, the train, or the grain elevator. I'm going to run these to the canning factory. Now, while I'm on the way to the canning factory to sell these, just kind of thinking to myself, I think green beans is something I might look into in the future, farming more. As I've been trying out the spinach and the peas in previous guide videos, and today, of course, we're doing the green beans. Of the three of these vegetables, the harvester for the green beans is the cheapest. I mean, that should be a factor, right? It's the cheapest harvester. I think this yield is pretty good, considering I only ran the harvester up and down the field a couple of times. And we've got 1,400 liters, which is not a whole lot, but from what I saw of the price, we could get close to $3,000 for just this. That's really not bad. I think it's worth trying again and checking into. So I'll be doing that in the future, and we'll see. For now, let's get these sold and back to our farm, because I want to check on the field after the harvest. So let's just see what this very small amount of green beans will sell for. Yeah, $3,000. I mean, $3,000 for that little piddly amount. That was the equivalent of about, I don't know, 3, maybe 4 passes up and down that field with the harvester. Yeah, I think that warrants checking into. So we'll be farming this some more and see how it does. As long as I've got the harvester, I'll hang on to it and we'll find out. Yeah, so back here at our field, right here, this is the amount that we harvested. I guess it was a few passes up and down the field, but still not a whole lot. I think the yield was pretty good. Something I want to look into. I want to pass, because they're harvestable all the way up through November, I want to pass another month and see how the field looks. All right, so I wanted to check, and here we are in November, the morning of November. I wanted to make sure it wouldn't grow back or anything like spinach. I wanted to check because it has such a large harvest window, but no, the green beans won't grow back. Once you harvest them, they're harvested. And it's November, and it's still within the harvest window, so these green beans that we left here are still harvestable. So there's that as well. So once you plant your beans, even if you plant them in April, you have all the way through November, and they'll still be here waiting to harvest. So that's good. You can see where we harvested them here. Well, that's it for today. Thanks all so much for watching. If you liked the video, maybe subscribe, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think, and for sure, leave any questions or anything down below. We'll be back next time with another video. Check back on the channel. Until then, I'll see you folks later.